Hey there, everybody. You're here with the Chocolate Bros, Adam,
Brian.
and we're sitting here right next to each other in our office, which is
Hey.
kind of weird because usually in the past when we've done this, we've done it on Zoom.
That's right. We haven't been in the same room, but now we're in the same room, and you know what? I like it.
I like it. I like
the
it too.
vibe.
I like it too.
Yes.
So this is going to be the first of, I think, several hundred episodes.
in a row, 1,000 days straight, as
Yes,
your emails are.
you bet. When we're going to be reviewing chocolate bars that we buy wherever we can find them, might
That's
be
right.
at Target, might be at a Safeway.
Some of these are going to be supermarket level. Some of these are going to be a little bit upgraded. Some will probably be on the fine chocolate end of things.
And the reason why we're doing it, we've been in the chocolate business for 16 years. We own a chocolate business, Fortunato Chocolate. You can check us out at www.fortunatochocolate.com. You know what happens, bro? We have really good chocolate.
We do.
We make really good chocolate, but I do think that sometimes we get kind of tunnel vision.
Yes.
And you might forget or lose perspective about where you stand in the world.
Right.
And there's so many chocolate companies and so many chocolate products.
There's a huge variety of stuff available out there, and we taste mostly our own stuff. And we think our own stuff is great, and we get that kind of feedback from people who taste it. But we want to give a fair shake to some other bars that's out there, and also I think people want to know.
People want to know.
Yeah.
And if you buy from us, especially online, when the summer comes, you can't really get chocolate from us because it's hard for us to ship it. And so if we could find some other gems that you might be able to get at your local grocery store, that could be a
maybe
solid we could do for you.
We'll find something that somebody could really enjoy. It's not all about us. It's not all about our chocolate. It's about what the people want to enjoy.
Yeah, and we're going to be honest and not harsh with chocolates that we don't care for. We're just going to do a straight objective analysis.
Unless they deserve it.
Unless
they
they
deserve
if
a
they're
harsh analysis, then we're going to give it, but it'll be honest and constructive.
Yes, but we're not going to be mean.
No, you will not be mean, and I might be, but I'm going to do my best.
Yeah, I think that pretty well sums up who we are as people.
That's right.
And then if somebody's good, we're also going to be honest, even though it doesn't necessarily behoove us because they might be our competition. But we're just going to be honest with our analysis.
Absolutely.
And we've been eating chocolate for 16 years, and Brian is probably one of the foremost cacao processors in the world, or certainly one of the people who's most knowledgeable about fermenting and drying and the post-harvest processing of cacao.
I am an expert in that, and I want to say I also have been a judge for the International Chocolate Awards 2 times for the South American round of the International Chocolate Awards, so I'm not entirely unexperienced in tasting other chocolates and giving an honest opinion on them.
Yes, and I have been a chocolate geek from the moment we got into the chocolate business, and I have eaten a lot of chocolate over the years.
But not an actual judge in a competition.
No, I'm not professionally trained.
So you're not at my level, but
No.
you aspire.
No, I'm a passionate amateur.
Okay,
Not-
very good. You're an enthusiast and not a professional, but nonetheless,
An aficionado.
An aficionado.
An
And
aficionado.
despite the fact that you're not a pro, like me, hopefully your opinions will still carry some kind of weight with the public, even though they're really not valid per se.
16 years experience, bro.
Right, as an amateur.
But I'm just saying, if somebody was a 16-year experience, an amateur with 16 years experience, it does still count for something.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, there's amateur ping pong players who are fine, but you wouldn't pay to go see them play.
No,
You know,
no.
yeah.
But you would maybe accept their opinion about gear.
Possibly.
All right.
All right, let's get to this.
Let's get to this. So show them what we got here.
Today we are going to review.
Now-
This is a brand that's
Now
really
this is
interesting.
this is I don't know how to do the mirror setting. So just know that this is supposed to be the other way around.
No.
Tony's
yeah.
Chocolonely, and we're talking about the 70% dark chocolate. Go ahead and say what you're going to say. I cut you off.
Yeah, it's all right. So yeah, it's.
But listen, one other thing that I'm just kidding.
It's a 70% dark from Tony's Chocolonely. Tony's Chocolonely is an interesting company. They're based out of Europe. I believe they're either Dutch or
Dutch.
Danish. They're
Dutch.
Dutch. And they have sort of hung their whole hat on being the slavery-free chocolate that comes from Africa.
Which is a good thing.
No,
Beautiful.
but-
I love their mission. I'm a fan.
they get it's a little controversial. There are people that buy into that, so there are other people that call it marketing hype. You can certainly go look into Tony's Chocolonely and make your own decision about their stance on slavery, etc. All we really want to analyze is the taste of the chocolate.
But I will say this. I have seen several interviews, I forget the guy's name, of the founder and owner and CEO of Tony's Chocolonely. And he strikes me as a guy who is doing his best to live out the mission that he has set for his company. So, but that's aside from what we think about how the chocolate tastes,
Correct.
which is what we're going to get into now.
Make your own opinion up on the company and their social mission. We just want to talk about the chocolate.
And these guys, I would say, a pretty reasonably priced option, and they're in almost every grocery store that you go to. So if it was a really good chocolate, that would be a good thing for you to know. But that is yet to be determined. But we're going to determine it right now.
I've seen divergent opinions about them online. You can see, we'll just start with a quick, this came in, how big is this? Probably could have done this like getting ready for the show. Oh, I see. It's 180 grams or 6.3 ounces.
That's a big bar of chocolate.
So that's a big, heavy
and
block
it's a big,
of chocolate.
thick mold.
And where was this purchased and for how much?
I don't remember how much I paid for it. I think I paid, I don't remember, Brian.
Okay.
I think I made
grocery store.
Grocery store. I think I may have paid $4 or $5 for it.
Okay, so it's an inexpensive for
It's an inexpensive option.
for what you get. You can see it comes.
Maybe it was $6.
It's got a pretty simple paper wrapper with some information inside about their social mission. It comes internally foil wrapped.
I don't like this internal foil wrapping because if you don't eat this whole humongous bar right now, you're kind of left without a good way to store it.
Yeah, it's an awkward wrap. You can see the mold. It's got like the segmentation. It's a little hard to see with the lighting in here.
Yeah, but it's also sort of awkward to cut and break off pieces as well.
Yeah, you can. So it's got those deep funnel. It's got those deep ridges in it that you can break off pretty well. You can see the bun. It's a thick bar.
It's really thick.
Yeah, that's a thick, unwieldy bar. Now we are purveyors of a thick bar as well. Sometimes that can be for cost cutting.
And people complain about it too.
Occasionally, yeah.
But this is a pretty complex molding for it to be that thick.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're gonna pack a lot of weight into a small rectangle, you have to make it thick. It's gotta be dense.
Okay. Now we have pre-cut a few squares of this. So
yeah, here we go. We got a cutting board here.
Yeah, we just got a cutting board and we've pre-cut a few squares of this. So first, here you go.
All right, here we go.
So we're just gonna take this and Adam's just gonna bite right into it. But as a professional, I'm gonna take my thumb and rub it along the back, warm it up a little bit, and then really get that aroma. Because the aroma will tell you a lot about the fermentation of the bean. I mean, you can just bite into it like I did. But all right, a little bit of a grassy green note. Other than that, not really a lot of aroma. Less than what you'd think for a 70% bar. Nothing really off about it. I'm going to take a little nibble. What we're going to try to do, and for those of you at home, this is just a sort of a basic cacao tasting. We're just going to take a little nibble and kind of let it melt on the tongue and try to condition our tongue a little bit.
I was reading the packaging over here. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Why don't you go first, and after I condition my tongue, I'm gonna have another nibble.
You're gonna condition your tongue.
Absolutely.
How about this guy over
I'm
here?
gonna swirl it, take in the aroma.
All right. So, I gotta say, if I'm being perfectly honest, for what this bar of chocolate is, I think this is a pretty good bar of chocolate. I think this is a good choice for what it is, which is a chocolate made. You can taste it with the same sort of generic African variety of cacao that you will find in pretty much every other chocolate that's available on the market. So you're not going to get any unique flavor notes out of this. In my opinion, this is sort of a very straight down the line flavor profile. African cacao. You can talk about the fermenting. I'll let you talk about the fermenting a little bit. I like the roast. I feel this has a nice roast on it. So to be perfectly frank, if you're talking about just getting a sort of single note, straight down the line, affordable bar of dark chocolate, I like this chocolate.
You mentioned single note.
I think this is a good choice, but it's not interesting. I wouldn't classify this as like fine flavored chocolate.
Yeah.
And if you think this is fine flavor, and let me just say one last thing, and I'll hand it over to you. This is the kind of thing where you get this and you think that this is like all that dark chocolate can be. And that is that would be the case because this is the same cacao that's in almost every grocery store chocolate coming from West Africa. And you would not realize if you only eat this kind of chocolate that there are other origins that have much more complex, delicious, interesting, sophisticated flavor profiles that this will never be able to achieve just because of the origin of where the cacao is coming from. So
and the genetic variety.
And the genetic variety. But for what it is, I think it's pretty good example of what it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right off the bat, I'll agree. It's not bad chocolate. It's well processed. It melts on the tongue really nice. Good mouthfeel. Not much aroma, as I said before. When I first put it in my, there was a little something funky when I very first put it in my mouth. There was something a little off-putting, but that quickly went away. And then a dominant flavor of, it's very peanutty. It's very nutty. It's got a dominant nutty flavor, and then I agree. I think it's a touch over roasted for me, but not terrible. And then the flavor is pretty strong. It's 70%, so it's got a pretty strong flavor. What bitterness there is coming after on the
and
tail.
I was just going to say, now, as I'm sitting here, I'm getting a very bitter
What's
aftertaste.
lingering in my mouth is the part that I least enjoy.
Correct,
So
I agree.
I enjoyed it more while I was eating it,
I
and
agree.
now that I haven't now that I've stopped eating it, this would be great to enjoy with some coffee or something where you're drinking, where you can kind of not get
Or even just a glass of water.
or a glass of water and not get such a long tail. But overall, I'm going to say, so I think that this might be the first Tony's Chocolonely. I've certainly heard about them forever. I don't think I've ever tried it before. It's for the price and the wide availability of that. That's not a bad chocolate.
I would just say, if you need a dark chocolate fix, and you're at the store and it's slave free,
and if the slavery issue is important to you, and I think it should be, to be fair,
it's fair. Yep. And I've seen an interview with the owner, and he strikes me as a sincere person, and I think it's a pretty good option if you need a dark chocolate fix, unless there are some other options there that are single origin, that are coming from origins that are more interesting, and maybe made by a company that takes, what would be the word I'm looking for? Takes a little bit more care with the way that they develop the flavor notes. Then if that option is available, you might go with that option, but we haven't reviewed any of those yet. But for a straight down the line West African cacao, widely available chocolate bar that's affordable, I think it is a pretty decent
And
option.
one thing you mentioned, and I'll just, for people who don't know or haven't listened to us before, fermentation is what you do with cacao beans when they come out of the pod, and before you dry them under the sun, you have to put them in a wooden box and ferment them, like mini foods are fermented. And one thing that over my long years of being a professional level chocolate judge and taster, unlike my brother,
I'm not making any bones about that. I didn't argue that.
But because I was in charge of fermenting all our beans for so long, I have developed the ability to really detect problems in fermentation from that first whiff and from that first taste. The fermentation on these beans seems fairly complete. I really think it's much better than average fermentation for a standard or slightly above standard grocery store level chocolate. On that, they hit it. But yeah, I think the only problem I'm going to really call out on this is that the further we go, the less agreeable the aftertaste is.
It's got a very long aftertaste.
You're gonna want to have something to drink after you get the chocolate swallowed.
And I probably wouldn't do coffee with this because coffee's already bitter. I think you're gonna want a glass of fruit juice, or you're gonna want some water.
The dad of three.
You're gonna want a Mott's apple. You're gonna want a
sippy cup of juice after this.
But for real, because of the bitterness, I mean, something kind of sweet or acidic to just kind of cleanse your palate, because it does have a really long bitter tail.
A little bit of vinegary bitterness on the back end.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. That's Tony's Chocolonely 70% dark chocolate.
And if you want something that is a little bit different in nature and price and availability and in taste, go to www.fortunatochocolate.com. Try the two of them together at the same time and see what you think. Compare them.
Now, I would say though, based on this dark chocolate, and if we're thinking about our 68% dark chocolate, I think we stand up pretty nicely against Tony's Chocolonely.
It's in a different league than this. I'll just say that.
Everything about it is differently.
Yes.
Yeah. But probably the key thing is the genetic variety of cacao.
The genetic variety.
That's really the key differentiator here.
Yeah, it's also more artfully roasted, and it's got a little bit more of a complete fermentation. Like I said, you're comparing Porsche to a Ford. I mean, yeah.
No, all right, bro. There you go. Well, hey, we said we were going to be honest here, man. So, all right, that's it. If you want to check out our chocolate, check it out at www.fortunatochocolate.com. And I guess we'll be back with another one of these
for the next 999 days straight.
Probably tomorrow, man. So there you go. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Goodbye.